Welcome to Real Talk episode 32. I am Brian Rose and we are here at London Real Studios, but we are live for the next 30 minutes answering your questions, so post them below. Joining me today is Mr. Fahim Khan, the founder of Halal Paleo. Welcome to the studios.
Hello, Brian. Thank you for having me.
How does it feel being in the chair, first of all?
It's surreal. It's just very surreal to be in the studio, to see you in person. I know I've met you before, but to sit on the same chair that Simon Sinek and Jocko Willink and so forth, everyone who has sat on, the greats who have sat on this chair, it's a privilege to be here.
Well, it's a privilege to have you. I remember there was someone that came to one of our super focus groups here, and I had a chat with him on the chair, and he was like, "Is this the same chair that Elliot Hulse sat on?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the one." So, there's good energy in this studio. A lot of amazing conversations have happened, amazing ideas. So I think it feels good in here, right?
Yeah, there's good energy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think you probably bring that energy.
Maybe, I try, How long have you been aware of London Real, been watching London Real?
It's a bit crazy. I think since February.
Okay, so recent?
Yeah, very recent.
Okay,
I did not know much about London Real until I heard you getting interviewed by Ben Greenfield.
Yeah, okay.
So I've been following him for a year. Then you popped up, and who's this guy? I need to know more about him. And London Real, London. I live in London, and I don't know about it.
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
then I just signed up, and I came to the summit. Met you, Chris Eubank. So I knew then.
You knew that you had found your tribe.
Yes, I needed to be part of this.
Nice. That was a crazy summit. I mean, Eubank, what a great day that was. There were so many things happening. Somebody else, I met with a guy today named Davor Habel, who runs a really big venture capital fund over for Fidelity called 8 Roads Ventures, and he found out of me on Ben Greenfield as well, which is weird because, you'd think these audiences would cross over, but sometimes they don't, which means I got to do more podcasts. That's what Alex is always trying to tell me to do. So, well, I'm glad you found us, and it's nice to have some new blood because some people have been watching for years. Mm-hmm. So it's great. And so you found us. You came to the summit. You probably saw us talking about the Business Accelerator at the summit. And what made you join?
A couple of things. I think over the past year I've been on a journey myself, and I've been searching. For something. A structure of some sort, a tribe, and I've had my journey, and I ultimately came to this, sign up for the summit, participated, and I see Michael LaRocque talking about his journey with his
wife Laura,
and I was just so impressed about him and how he presented himself and what he spoke of being part of the Bizak course. And I thought, I've got to do this. I knew I was going to do it because I went up to you and I said, "So when's the application out?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's going to be out in a couple of weeks." And you took your time, but eventually I got through. Yeah,
you were hounding me. You're like, I think you even emailed me the next week, like, "When is it open?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's got another 2 weeks before we open up again."
And Chris Albert, a phenomenal guy, and I found out how amazing he is through the course. But when he said this is a life accelerator, I think that's what he said, and I thought, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Chris Albert is our former Marine, veteran who built an entire lifestyle brand called Warrior Soul around his idea that he's targeting a micro niche of veterans with kind of a different way of looking at the military. Not these like hardcore, crazy Semper Fi guys, but the guys that are willing to look at their military experience with kind of a tongue-in-cheek way and realize that it's part of who they are, but it doesn't define who they are. And Chris was on our very first Business Accelerator, and I think he was on, his testimonial was on the page, and you probably saw him, and a lot of people fell in love with Chris, and he was incredible. He was a major part of the course, one of our key teachers and instructors on the course, and you guys got along really well, right?
Yeah.
So all right, you found us, you saw us at the summit. By the way, you're talking about 2 former grads, so Mike LaRocque and his wife Laura, who built a lifestyle brand around their own personal message and are now doing that, actually executing it in Vancouver right now, having tremendous amounts of success. They were selling like a multi-level marketing product, and then we're like, wait a second, you guys are the brand, because they have such great energy. They're very honest about the tough times they've been through, and now they're really helping couples, helping people live great lives. And the other guy on the stage was Jacob, who's our yoga instructor in Sweden, who's done amazing things. And I'm telling you, Jacob came to a focus group here. I remember he sat in a chair right here, and he was the quietest dude in the world. And afterwards, he was just like, Brian, I'm thinking about the accelerator. Because a lot of people from Finland and way up in the north, that just, whatever. It's just quiet things. And I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen with this guy. But he blew everybody away because he loves his yoga. He's got a lifestyle brand. He lives in this it looks like some kind of a Hollywood movie.
It's beautiful. It's amazing,
right?
Yeah.
It's like snow and wood, and he's done the wood-burning stove, and he's got the beautiful kids, and just people like his energy. And he's built this entire yoga brand on the back of the Business Accelerator, and he's doing amazing things. He's got partnerships with key people of influence in Sweden. He's opening it up to an English audience. It's really great. So you got kind of spoiled to see those two.
Yeah.
There that day. All right, so you join the course. You start off, and for people that don't know, what's it like when you first get into that private Facebook group? You had 29 other people in your class. What were you thinking?
It was interesting. There was a bunch of different personalities bringing in their own little mix to it, and we had a week to get to know each other. We had a few exercises.
Yeah.
I think you called it the module 0, which is quite appropriate.
Why is that appropriate, module 0?
It's just sinking your toes in to let you know what you're going to be in for the next 8 weeks, and it makes sense afterwards when I look back. So I think you were talking about doing vlogs. Was that in the
I think
initial?
module 0 is your pitch video.
Yes.
So it's the 1-minute pitch video and your hero's journey video, which is, I don't know how you felt about that.
So that was very tough
Right.
to look into a camera for the first time and talk about yourself, what you've been through, and how you got to this point, and how you talked about everyone has a hero's journey within themselves. Everyone has something to give, and I was very attracted to it, and I just had to search deep inside to be able to talk about it and present it to people who are listening, and also getting the feedback from the community. So essentially you built a small community to go through this course.
Yeah, it's a powerful community. So people open up right away. And again, at London Real, in the academy, we have these rules that are love and respect, vulnerability, really important. We can't grow without being vulnerable. Action and accountability, we make sure you do things. And then fun is the 5th one. So the same rules apply in the Business Accelerator, but it means from day one, you're basically opening up your heart and just letting it pour out.
Yeah.
And it's very exposing. But once you start seeing people post these videos, you're like, oh my gosh, look at these stories. And you saw Carla, that was the doctor with the NHS, pouring her heart out, saying that she worked 10 years in the NHS, but she doesn't want to do this kind of medicine anymore. And it was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was moved emotionally by this class.
I completely agree with you. Connecting with people through social media to a level where you don't normally do so. On a course.
I know, right? It's supposed to be for business.
Yeah, it's supposed to be apparently.
Right?
But, and to be able to do that, to connect to another person, you're really digging deep inside to your core, who you are, and you're sharing that with someone else you've never met before. Yeah. And you develop a relationship, a connection with these people who are in it together to push you to be the best you, and you overseeing it all. So.
Yeah, and and I didn't have to sanction anybody or kick anybody out. Everybody got the vibe, and they were so supportive. And I let you guys kind of get on with it before that first call, because you guys have 10 days, and you had Stephen Turner jumping in, tons of support, comments on everybody's video. Great work. Okay, I think you should work on this in your pitch. Redo this. Tika, our Wall Street trader from New York, that would smoke cigars during the live calls. Super helpful, and really, just a lot of caring energy in there. Yeah. And you guys got so close. We had a final dinner here a few weeks ago in London, and you guys were so tight as a class. Yeah. You guys seemed like old friends when you met each other, And I never knew we would create something like that, powerful. So, all right, that's the good stuff. But look, when you had to do your hero's journey, you had to go dig deep, and you had to talk about some things that you've been going through. Yeah. And again, you didn't have an idea for a business, did you?
I kind of had an idea, but it wasn't really the greatest idea. And that was kind of the eye-opener for me, where I was focusing on a product rather than actually what I'm trying to do, why am I here, and how am I going to share that and help others. And that was the eye-opener for me, and I was able to reflect back on all the things I did before in business, and But yeah, I didn't really have a core business.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, oh, Brian, I can't start the Business Accelerator because I don't have a business idea. I'm like, you don't, for a lot of reasons. First of all, you bought in because you knew you felt the energy, and you're like, I got to be a part of this because I'm going to grow. And so I call it a Business Accelerator, but we know it's more like a life accelerator, because it forces you to call yourself on all the stories you've been telling yourself that aren't true, and to make yourself really kind of step up and confront really yourself in many ways, and get you to push through with our help and with a great peer group. But it's kind of hard at first. And so it's interesting what you said. In business before, it's like, let's make a product and sell as much as we can, take the money and go home and live our lives. But in the course, I'm like, I don't want anybody doing a business that they're not passionate about. Because first of all, I don't have the time for it. Like, I only have a certain amount of time. I'd rather focus with people that love what they do, as opposed to people that just want to sell a bunch of garbage. And so that was it. But again, you said, let's provide value to someone's life. If you provide enough value, I believe you'll get enough money back. Yeah. And if you don't, then you're going to have a great life anyway. So why don't we do this? And I think you figured that out right away. Let's not focus on the product. Let's focus on your why, and then delivering value, right? Now what did you start off doing? Because you had just come through some relationships, some emotions in yourself.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier I was going through a journey of, I was stuck over a year and a half ago. I was in a rut. I was overweight. Anyway, in my life I was cycling through gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, and nothing was consistent. So I was pretty unhealthy, psychologically stuck in a rut. Marriage was failing, and I just had to do something. I had to pull myself out of it. And eventually I managed to do that with the support of friends, and knowing that I knew something better. I knew why I was here. I need to do something better for myself and people around me. I focused back on myself, and I lost weight. I started training. I started eating better and educating myself, and listening to Ben Greenfield and others out there who know this shit. And I kind of educated myself and started sharing that with family, and then it became this thing, and we built a community with our friends who were participating. I had a very good friend, Mo Kankara, who is also my business partner with Halal Paleo. Yeah. And when I originally came into the Business Accelerator course, I was thinking, okay, what do I need? I want to do this course, but I'm not certain on what the product is or what the business is. And I thought, okay, maybe paleo desserts, because I thought, okay, desserts are a sticking point. Yeah. And you're like, okay, why are you focusing on the product?
Yeah, because you were like paleo desserts, and you're like, I'm going to make this dessert. And I get this all the time. People are like, they focus on a specific retail product. Like, I'm going to sell this organic, cookie. And I'm always just like, I don't know, what did I tell you? I was just like, you're focusing on a specific product.
Yeah. That's the biggest mistake people do.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got you away from that, but you pivoted to something else at first, and we were going to go and talk about some like emotional support for people.
Yeah, I was talking people who are in failed marriages, stuck in a rut, overweight, and or divorce. Yeah. So it's a subject matter I wanted to talk about and help other people who could I could support pulling them out of that rut. But I wasn't. It didn't feel. I wasn't deeply connected to it. Yeah. I know maybe something I'll do later on. Yeah. When I know exactly how I want to help, but right now I wasn't. I didn't have the right tools or knowledge to help people in that regards, and that's why the first 3 weeks I was struggling. Yeah. It was overwhelming. I did not know. All right, shit. I'm falling behind. If there's such a thing, you're falling behind. I was falling behind. What am I going to do?
Because it's a pace. The first module 0, it's hero's journey, it's pitch, and then we ask you to look at your marketplace, check out the competitors, dive into your micro niche, find that product. there's a pace here because we got a lot to get done. And so, and you're probably thinking, okay, what? But part of this is an exploratory period, and we want you to like try this and try that. And when you do things like the 10 vlogs, you'll realize that after doing, say, 3 vlogs in a row, if you're not feeling the product or the market, then you're like, and that's when you change. Yeah. And I think you started changing around week 3?
Yeah, week 3 it became clear. So Halal Paleo was a blog my colleague, he created as a hobby. Okay. And so I was going to participate and write blog entries to this. And it just became evident at that point, why am I looking for something else? This is what we believe in. We're trying to help people. The reason why we created it, we want to help people and connect to the community. So you're talking about micro niche. And how do I micro niche this? At first, I was a bit hesitant. Okay, I'm choosing a religion, but it made sense because I'm a Muslim, and this is a community I'm part of, and it's a micro niche. Then everything just slotted in that week, and I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'll call him up. Do you want to make this into a business? And do you want to really help people? And he goes, yes, let's do this. And I was communicating with yourself and Chris, who were really helping me. Like I was having a call with Chris at 12 o'clock in the morning over Skype. But yes. We did that.
Yeah, I know, and he's great, and he's there for support, and like all of our instructors were there, so it's like emails back within 24 hours and Skype calls if necessary. So you're getting a lot of private instruction in the background. And I remember that call where you dropped Halal Paleo on us, and I just think I stopped in my tracks, and I was like, Halal Paleo, I love it. And I saw the site, and I saw the picture, and for me right away, I was just like, that's a perfect micro niche. And I felt the vibe. It's like, I want to support these people. I want to help them. I want to give them the recipes. And I look at you, you're a guy in an urban environment, London. You're a young guy. You're Muslim, but you're also thinking about your health. And I'm like, how many guys are just like you? Probably a great spending demographic. I was like, you didn't have to convince me. I thought it was a great idea.
I know, you thought it was a great idea than I actually believed it at first. You were very excited about it, and then it kind of started playing out. And when you talked about the product ecosystem, and that's a concept which when you explained it, and now I see it everywhere, and it made sense. And I was able to grow we were able to grow a membership list very quickly, because it was appropriately Ramadan when I was doing the course, and people are looking, all right, so I need to eat well during this time as well, and people just signed up.
Perfect timing,
perfect
right?
timing.
So you've got Ramadan happening when Halal Paleo drops, so everyone's really thinking about their diet also, very much so, because they're fasting parts of the day. I remember I had a client in the city. He worked at, I think, Lehman Brothers, and then moved on one of the Japanese banks, and he was Muslim, and he really practiced serious at Ramadan, because some of the traders did, some didn't. And he said, Brian, I used to gain weight in Ramadan. And I was like, why, dude? And he said, because when you break the fast, there's all these really fatty, bad foods that people celebrate with. And so for some reason, I think I remembered that. And when I heard what you said, I was just like, okay, there's a lot of dynamics. And that's what a micro niche is. You're serving a very small market that only they understand. And if you understand it, you can deliver value in so many different ways.
It's with halal, how I see Halal Paleo is it's an educational company for the Muslim community. That's really how I see it, and I want to educate.
That's so beautiful. Because you're thinking about a why. You're thinking about a bigger picture, aren't you?
Yeah, because I see it directly. If I can solve a problem around me, my mum's type 2 diabetic, and so it's very close to home in terms of how can I help her? And a paleo way of eating or a ketogenic way of eating, the next stage, is shown. The studies are out there. The education is there, where people can really start reversing the problems they're having in the diseases, the problems they're having with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity. I lost a ton of weight over the year, just experimenting and trying different things, and then sticking to a paleo way of eating, because it seems more long term. I can stick to it. And it makes sense.
And it totally does. And you mentioned product ecosystem there, and I'd love for you to talk about that next, because we did a webinar on this just a few days ago, and it was like one of our biggest one ever, our most attended ever. And it's a simple concept, but it's one that most people don't understand. And I think if you brought your business partner into it who was doing a blog before, you might have been like, okay, let's do a blog, and then maybe we'll get some advertisers one day, and blah, blah, blah. But if you think about this product ecosystem, it's almost like a matrix. It's almost like you take a different pill, and all of a sudden you see the world, and you're like, oh, I can do this. At least that's the way I look at it. Talk to me about the product ecosystem for people that are watching on Facebook. And by the way, you can put your questions in. I am looking at these comments here. Can you explain to them what the product ecosystem is and what it meant to you, and how you then built your business around it?
Very appropriately put, like the matrix. Once you see it everywhere. Everywhere. Every company, organization you have had an interaction with, they use it. An example of a product ecosystem, well, a product ecosystem is where you're building a relationship with your audience, your target market. It starts with a free product, an entry-level product, your mid-range product, which could be a membership or something that you're willing to pay money to be part of, a nominal fee.
Yeah.
So you've just qualified yourself and you're getting value from it.
Yeah, $10,
Yeah.
£10, or a little bit more. Yeah.
And a free product, I could say, is where you're providing a ton of value, your blog posts, your vlogs, education you're giving out to you do tons of that.
Yeah, our shows are free product. For you were giving recipes out for free during Ramadan.
Yeah,
correct?
we gave meal plans out, we gave some feedback, but really it's a product. It could be a PDF, it could be some video courses, which are everlasting. They will go on.
Right.
You don't need to maintain it, but you're still adding value to people. And you see that everywhere. And the second is if you have a membership site, or if you have you're building a community where people pay something for a product. We've created a ebook, recipe ebook, where people can just follow easily and adapt for a halal market. So they can say, all right, I can make this, or I can purchase this from here, and to be able to follow a paleo way of halal paleo way of eating.
Right.
Because that's the toughest thing when you're following a particular way of eating. Sometimes you don't know what to choose, and we're trying to provide that value through a cheap product. It's not even that expensive.
Talk to me about this ebook. How much does it cost? And when you sold your first ebook, how long had you spent writing it? It's a trick question here, but you're going to know what I'm saying really quick here.
Okay, so I didn't even write it before I sold it.
You didn't write the book before you sold it?
No. I learned from the best.
That is the concept of MVP, right?
Yep.
It's a minimum viable product where you test the market before you build a product.
Yep.
And so what did you do with this ebook?
So we wrote down, we made an offer to our mailing list and said, we're putting this book together and it's going to be due on this particular date. If you purchase on a pre-order, you get a discount. And we provided access to a Facebook membership group, and also the first 20 pre-orders would get a direct Skype call once per month. And what
you guys are good.
Yeah, we're just trying to. So you can see the immense value. $7.99. The cost of that is greater than the $7.99 to maintain it. But what we're trying to do is give immense value and build that membership base. Yeah. So which will then, once we have that long-term relationship, we'll start solving the bigger problems our audience will be having.
Right, and then you can sell them core products.
Yeah,
you learned all this in the Business Accelerator.
All of it from the Business Accelerator.
You sound like a very savvy businessman, to say the least. So you decided to sell a product that really was less than cost. Because like you said, to provide the Facebook group and the Skype calls, over the long run, you can't survive on ebooks. No. But you wanted to see if someone would, what I call, give you the ultimate vote of confidence, which is vote with their credit card.
Yep.
Because anyone can like a post on Facebook or share it, but when they pull out their credit card, you know that you're providing value to someone. Am I right?
That's exactly what I was trying to say, but you've said it very eloquently. Yep.
Sorry. So, and how long did it take you to sell your first ebook? And how did it feel when you sold your first ebook?
You'll always remember your first sale. I remember very clearly. It happened on the day of our dinner, where we all got together. It was I think it was the last week of our course. Yeah. And I made that offering, and I got to you and Brian. I've just made my first sale, and it was so easy to set up. It's more of a mental barrier to get to this point than actually doing it. Yeah. And that's the great thing about this course. You can learn these individual concepts. You'll hear it and you'll read about it, but to have an entire structure, to be able to, you've essentially built a business foundation through the course, and having that structure and to be able to fall back on it time and time again, and adapt when necessary is amazing. And it's a testament to the course to be able to say on the last day, Brian, I sold a product.
I was like, I was speechless. I was eating my Vietnamese food and my fork dropped because you're like, I sold one. I think you might have sold another one by the end of the meal. Yeah. And I was like, this guy's selling products and your business had been online like 4 or 5 weeks. Yep. And you're selling products, which means people are voting for you. I mean, that's a business. If you are selling products within 5 weeks, that's a business. And not only does it mean you made, £8 here and £8 there, that means you're serving a client, you're adding value. They just met you. Yep. and you're doing that. That for me,
Strangers.
the strangers,
Yeah.
I mean, that means you're providing value. And I mean, right away, I mean, if I was an investor, I would be having a serious conversation with you. And I always talk about you and what you're doing. And you understand the fundamentals really well here. And like you said, you're building a foundation for a business, free product, low cost product. Next, you're going to introduce a core product where you're going to make your real money.
Yep.
And you definitely have a business to business play going on down the road, or partnership product, which I'm sure you're always thinking about.
Yep.
And so, you know, again, you're not going in for this quick win. You're not trying to sell 1,000 ebooks because you know that's not the plan. You're building this foundation. That's a great way.
The way I was explaining this course to some friends and people who heard about me doing this course, I was saying it's almost like a fast track real world MBA, where really people are paying hundreds of thousands of pounds for the community, the contacts they get, the network. And what you find when you're part of a group like the Tribe of London Real, amazing people are part of it. And potential partnerships are occurring. I'm having discussions post the course because of doing the course. So the return on investment is, you know, already there, by just building that relationship with the people you've met with. But you have to be consistent in whatever you do. In the beginning, it was overwhelming when we were talking about social media. You know, when I wasn't so much of a social geek before, just maybe the typical social media, looking at funny videos and scrolling up and down.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I'd rather be a producer. I'd rather not be an audience. I never liked being an audience.
Yeah, it's a hollow feeling after a while.
And I wanted to be someone who can create value around me. And this really allowed me to do it, take action, and be held accountable. And that's great. And that's why, for me, it was a huge value in participating and doing this course. And still is. I'm here talking to you right now, after 3 or 4 months after the course.
Yeah. Well, we say that one line in there that I learned from Guy Kawasaki, who used to work at Apple Computer with Steve Jobs, and he talks about social media. He has a book called The Art of Social Media. And he told me, he said, Brian, I'm a producer of social media, not a consumer of one. And that's one of the main things that we drill down into everybody on this course, is that your job is to produce it and produce massive amounts of social media that adds value, and then to turn those leads to people back to your website to create email lists, which you've created a sizable email list now, and now you're selling them product. You're doing everything by the book. Most people don't know what to do with social media, quite honestly. Even the experts don't know what to do with it. And you say a real world MBA, it's one thing to go and learn for a year the basics of business, but to see it practiced in real time with your own landing page, and you're selling customers, you set up a account and you have money in your bank in 5 weeks, I don't know, it blows my mind. And I'm just continually impressed with the site. It looks clean, your emails are impressive. And one of the guys on the course was really a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company in food retail here. And he's now in food technology as well, and I know, you guys know each other very well now. So the class is so tight, I think I see future partnerships happening there.
Yeah, it's already happening. We're having good discussions with a few of the guys like you mentioned, and we're going to explore these opportunities and try and develop them and how we can add value to each other. So it's exciting. It's very exciting to be at this stage and
Talk to me about the rest of the peer group, because you got these 30 people around the world. They come on a live call. We can all talk to each other and see each other. We had 2 people in Hong Kong that were like up at 3 in the morning, but they were pushing themselves. You got people in California and Vancouver. What's it like getting to know these different people? How do they help during the 8 weeks?
So one of the things I loved about this course in London Railway is the diversity, the different types of personalities. And I always believed in, you need to meet different types of people in this life. It's boring because you end up with the same type of friends, same type of personalities. And you learn so much about other people and yourself when you meet people from different walks of life. For example, Claire, who's my accountability buddy. We just became accountability buddies, Claire. And I'm in regular contact with her, and she's a movement specialist, Collective X.
Yeah,
and
she's amazing.
She's amazing. She did the first interview with you after the course.
Yeah, you can watch her interview on Real Talk.
Claire is a special person, and you know she has greatness in her, and she'll be doing some amazing things. and the feedback you get, the support you got. I received a lot of support from the group when I posted things, when I shared what I need to. Even I learned from what they posted and the struggles they had when they were being vulnerable. It allowed me to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Tika, brilliant guy. He's always giving. The Wall Street guy. I will catch up with him. Chris Fung, you mentioned. He has a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise. The people in this group are not amateurs. They are people who have success in their life in different streams, and that's the crazy part about it. And they're just trying to get that step higher.
Yeah, I mean,
to
you're
be
right.
part of it.
It was a crazy group because you got Chris Fung, used to run a multi-million-pound retail company. You've got, NHS doctor, former Wall Street trader who made and lost multi-millions of dollars. You've got Stephen Turner, who's basically restructuring the entire law industry
and
here.
I'm sure you've heard from other interviews about Stephen. He is a beast. He was on beast mode throughout the course. He is probably one of the only persons who were able to complete things on time. I think he was ahead of schedule some of the weeks, and he's someone I look up to. Someone I can. All right, if he can do it, why am I being such a weakling? Why am I not digging deep and doing it? Because if he can do it, why can't I? He made me ask that question to myself, and that's. Great people, great people.
I know, and that's what it makes you do. And so you got Tika in New York, who's like in his 50s, maybe he's in his 40s. I get it wrong every time. And he's struggling with building a landing page that converts. And so he's like, Brian, and he starts swearing on one of the calls, and I'm like, all right, dude, I know the Wall Street traders swear, but you see him do it, and then the next week he figures it out, and he's got like 3 different landing pages. And so then you got some, other person who's like in their 20s, and they're like, I can't figure it out, Brian. And I'm like, okay, Tika just figured it out, so you can. So you kind of get inspired by different people on different levels.
That's really it. I had conversations with Tika. He gave me feedback around the vlogs and how to, because the guy, he gets interviewed on Fox News, and he's been there, done that. He's been around the block, and he gives you some valuable input, valuable advice throughout. Everyone there was giving something important, and I was able to take it back and implement.
Amazing group when it comes to giving, just so much positive energy. And I credit London Real to that, because like London Reelers are a special type of people. They're empathetic people. They listen first. That's why we're here, because you have to listen to people to be really a London Reeler, or you wouldn't come back. And so I think people have empathy. They want to listen. They want to hear new ideas. They don't just close off their minds,
Yeah, that's the reason why I joined London Real. It's that next level up. It's the complete. I don't want to over exaggerate, but it's that circle where you have the personal development. You have, okay, I need to sort my finances out. You have the healthcare. There's different specialisms you're trying to develop, and you also have the business accelerator. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I have run businesses before. Even though I'm working in a professional environment, professional industry, but it's in my blood to do something. But to be able to get the education where you need and to implement it is the right place to be. London Real is something I've been searching for a long time, and I'm fortunate and grateful to be a part of it.
You're a perfect London Real man. I'm so glad you're here talking about this stuff. I want to go to a couple questions on Facebook. People are asking questions about product ecosystem and things like that. But before I do, you said trust the process. That was one thing you said. Some people are watching that are either going to be in our next Accelerator course or are thinking about it. What do you mean by trust the process? Because I think I talked about that in the first week, but it probably went over everyone's head.
Okay, so when you're outside your comfort zone, which the course is doing, you're going to grow. And by having an environment such as the course and the people like yourself and the group, you'll figure it out. At the time where you're like, shit, all these guys are doing something and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. It's easy to look back in hindsight, but that's really what happened. I had no clue what I was going to do, what I was going to develop realistically. And the process and the structure allowed you to get to that point. It's a journey. And it's not what you have at the end point. It's always going to be that journey, but you have the right structure in place to be able to get there. I was making vlogs. I've never spoken to a camera and shared it on my Facebook group. But that in itself, people are asking me, where are your vlogs? Why aren't you sharing? And that in itself said it was helping someone. People were interested to know more. And you sometimes don't appreciate what you have to have that you can offer to the world. But when you start doing, there is someone who's going to listen, especially when you are speaking to that inner what you're trying to do, why you're here, who you want to help.
Yeah, when you really pour out and be genuine with who you are and be authentic, there are those 1,000 people out there which you have so much value you can give to them. Yeah. And yet most of us walk around in a world thinking, I'm just another thing. There's no way I could sell a $2,000 product to someone. There's no way I could sell ebooks within 4 weeks. And they don't think they have the value, but you do. But the idea is, first of all, you've got to get out of your own way and let yourself bloom and flow. And then you also have to get to the right people, which means you've got to broadcast your message, get it to the right people on social, get them back to your site, get the email address, start having the conversations, adding value to their lives, and convert and build that system. If you're missing one part of that process, then you throw your hands up and say, oh, I was never an entrepreneur. And I see people do it, and it makes me cry because it's so much potential in all these people,
It's what I've learned is it's about consistency. You may not have to do everything, because I haven't done everything yet, but it's something I'll get to. It's something I'm striving towards. But it's consistency. As long as you are consistent in what you're doing and listening and trying to see how people are responding to what you're doing, you have that continuous learning. There's going to be success. There's always going to be success at the end of the tunnel, as long as you're committed. And that would be the feedback I'd give to anyone doing the course. You just have to be committed to what you want. You're willing to put the effort in, whether you're not sleeping that night. Yeah, you can make that up later on, but if you're willing to go to that level, you'll have success. And that's one of the, even if you haven't seen much of the course, if you're listening to all the amazing people who have sat in this chair and what they share about, Gary Vee, who else? Ben Greenfield, who, what he does, the amount of work he puts in, yourself, the amount of effort you put in doing the things you do. You were saying for 4 years you didn't really have a business.
Yeah, for 3 years we were just creating free product.
Yeah.
We didn't know that was one part of the ecosystem at the time. But we were just doing it because I was doing something I was passionate about, and I was just being authentic, and I was just delivering value in the form of just getting these great messages out there. Little did I know that was the crucial component of a great business, because my why was aligned. And little did I know I was doing 25% of my ecosystem free product. And then later I built the product for Prospect, which is the Academy, the core product, which are courses like the Business Accelerator, the TED Talk course, our Inner Circle, and then our business products, which we're doing with corporations here in London. So now it makes sense, now that I can see the matrix, but before I couldn't. So,
Trust the process.
Trust the process. And I know we've designed this course to where it hits all the pieces, but you have to trust because in the middle of it doesn't make sense. It's like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. I'm making you wax all my floors. And you're like, Brian, why are you doing this? And then later we take you to the karate tournament and you win. And that's the plan. And so if you go through the process and trust us, then at the end you come off with just an amazing structure of knowledge that I think you'll be using the rest of your life. And I meet entrepreneurs today that don't even understand an ecosystem. Maybe they got lucky once and sold a product for prospects for a bunch of them, or they hit it with some one-off deal, but they don't really understand that all businesses, successful ones, have an ecosystem. So,
Yeah, it's some amazing knowledge, education. It's things I'm sharing with family, with my dad. He has his own business.
Okay, so you're giving him the knowledge too. That's really good. A bunch of questions here. People saying hi. Somebody asked a question really interesting here. Simon said, how would the product ecosystem affect an artist? How would I make a business out of it? It's interesting. I get questions like this all the time. And a lot of people say, well, that might have worked for Fahim. He had a halal paleo business. There's recipes, there's food, there's maybe retreats, all these things you can do to service, really the diet of the Muslim community, wherever you want to be. I mean, that's a fantastic market. But, people think, oh, that can't be me. And, when I see it can be anyone. And so artists think, oh, I can only do this, or I can only do a painting or do a song. But, artists, if they get their message and their why out there, they can do anything. They can do live events, they can sell product, they can do business pieces. And if you think of the great artists out there, what did they do? think of any great artist, a musician or anything. They sold their music to a corporate for the movie track, to a commercial for that. They do live events. They do music these days, which used to be a product for prospect. Now it's a free product. Videos on YouTube, free product. There's a product ecosystem of an artist right there. All it had to do was you to take your lenses on and see it. Whereas most people would say musicians don't make any money because they can't make money with music.
Once you know, you'll see it everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. Once you see it, you'll see it in all things.
Yep.
So let me ask you a question. And you said something really touching at the end when you were thanking Chris Albert, which is one of our instructors on the course. And it was really touching to me because you were like, thank you, Chris, for all the help. And he was so supportive of anyone out there. And you were like, you know what? I saw you as a U.S. Marine, and I thought you might have a problem with me culturally, and you didn't. And just tell me what you said, because it meant a lot to me.
Whether we like it or not, we have judgment. We make judgments easily about people. We don't even realize on a subconscious level. And one of the things that I had a picture, you were ex-US Marine, okay, been to Iraq, I'm a Muslim, all right, what you hear, Trump, maybe Trump support, I don't know, may not like Muslims. And I'm like, I was a bit, to the point I was hesitant to talk about halal.
Really? That's so funny, I never even thought of that.
And I was hesitant. And when I just mentioned halal, and Chris was saying, yeah, Ramadan, fasting. He knew all the technical terms about, suhoor, iftar, and his commitment to understand more. He was even talking about the ketosis breath you have just before opening your fast and how you can tackle that. The guy is phenomenal, and he came from what I said. He came from a place of love. He did not judge. He didn't have misconceptions about Muslims. He's just a genuine guy, and it's a testament to be part of this group of people, London Real, what it attracts. And it just opened my eyes, and I had a newfound respect for people in terms of avoiding judging them for what they did or what they do, because they went from their why, and it was always to help people, to support people, to protect people. And it's just that.
Yeah.
And who am I to judge? And Chris is a special guy.
Yeah, he's super special. The only thing Chris judges you on is laziness and bad business practices. There he'll attack you. But when it comes to your ethos and your why, he supports everything. And he's obviously really knowledgeable about diet and ketosis and all that. So he's probably super excited to get involved there. Something Claire told me, see, I don't even see this. So like, again, I'm in the same place that a lot of people are that are watching. I don't even realize our strengths, that London Real has such a great vibe, a community of people. That's one of the big values. But Claire, she's 22. And she's like, I come in here and I think I'm going to be age discriminated. Who am I? I'm this young girl, blah, blah, blah. I'm here with Tika Tawari in his 50s, Wall Street trader. I'm with people, NHS doctors, all these people in their 40s. She said not a single time did she ever feel like I was the young one or I was talked down to. She was a peer along everybody else. So yeah, when I think about it now, I'm like super proud of that. Right?
Claire was, you judge by people what they do, what actions they've taken, and she was amazing in what she produced, what she provided, and the value she gave to the group. Every single person who was within our group was always looking to help each other, or by sharing what they were doing or giving feedback. And there's a huge value in just sharing what you're doing and being vulnerable and being open and honest. But one of the things I just wanted to retract and go back to was when you're talking about your niche, and this is before going and thinking about a niche market, we always want to get the big hits, and we want to serve everyone. And if you think about it, you're like a cowboy. You're trying to be a jack of all trades, essentially, when you're doing that. And how I translated that from that course was, you need to master your niche. Once you master your niche, where you talk about being a KPI, key person of influence within that, then you can slowly zoom out and expand that reach. And that's how I see it, from maybe a small community of, say, halal paleo, to the bigger why of making a difference in people's life and connecting different cultures, where, I connected with Chris, a former ex-Marine, where I can then say, all right, if I become a key person of influence within this small niche, then I can start expanding and zooming out to things where how can I connect with people from Muslim community to an external community, especially with the problems we're having in the world right now when Islam seems to be at the center of stage for whatever reason, for whatever misconceptions, and how can I connect to others not based on what you believe in or what I believe in, but on a human level. This is where I come from. I understand who you are and I accept who you are, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're atheist, whatever you are. And how can I connect that? How can I bridge that from a smaller serving halal niche, halal paleo niche? That's the vision. I see it going.
That's where you're going for.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for, the bigger. Why not?
I love it. Why not? I mean, you should go big. But again, like you said, focus on that micro niche first. Let's serve that first 1,000 customers in halal paleo, get your business foundation, get some cash flow. Then, like you said, zoom out. You've already served these people. They're talking about you word of mouth. They trust you. Then, like you said, zoom out and see see maybe what other people you can help in the Muslim community with that. And then zoom out even further. And I love it. Nothing would make me happier than you and Warrior Soul to have like a partnership where you guys come together for like the Marine Muslim Paleo Conference. How cool would that be?
That'd be crazy.
And again, you built it around great energy and you built it around food, which is something people come together with.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane. I want to ask you one question before we finish, and I might go to one more live question as well. I'm in the middle right now of the next Accelerator, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of applications, but people ask me questions. They're like, Brian, do I start it without an idea? Brian, I've already got $1 million business. Do I come into this course? Brian, I can't afford it. Maybe I'll do it in a year or two or something like that. What would you say to these people?
If you're thinking along that line, you have a problem and you're trying to solve it. You're still going to have that problem in a year or two if you do not take action. So what's going to happen in the year or two of not making a decision? You're going to be stuck. You're not going to be better off. And the course is called Business Accelerator. You will go through a process. If you make that decision to do the course, and I do recommend it, whether you have an idea or you don't, but if you are keen, if you know that your purpose is bigger and you want to serve that people, but you just don't know, you don't have the tools or you don't have you just don't know how to do it, this is the place where you learn how to do it and then first discover why you want to do it. So I highly recommend the course. I highly recommend just participating, making that connection with Brian and your cohorts, because you will make some amazing friendships, amazing connections with the people who participate, because these people are of a particular caliber. They're not your average Joes. London Real's not an average Joe, so yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, when we were sitting around at that final dinner, I was just looking at the people on this table. It's just like special people, driven, great ideas, wonderful energy, supportive, and just I think you all are going to stick together really tight, for a long time. Yeah. And I was just so proud of it. And it reminds me of a quote that Ido Portal said when he sat there, and he said, Brian, when you find the right teacher, learn whatever they have to tell you. And I was just like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. And I think this class is similar. Like if you like our vibe, if you feel what we're doing here, come in and learn. And you're going to learn a bit about the business. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. And when you come at the end of it, you're going to be just this better person. You're going to be more mature. You're going to have gone through some hard things. You're going to have had some wins. You're going to confront some things about yourself that you've been avoiding for a long time. You're going to have come out and talked about your passions. You're going to put yourself in front of the camera. You're going to take some chances, take some risks, had some failures and had some successes. And 10 weeks later, I see these people that are like, powers now on the back of that. And the interviews I've had in this chair, they're like different people than when we started. Everyone that sat there so far, and it's been like 8 people, they're all like on their game. And like you tonight, you're like, I am this business and I understand it and I own it. And anyways, just makes me very proud. So I just want to finish by saying thank you so much for being a part of this program. As you know, it's like one of my most favorite things to do. I'm on those calls twice a week. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I get done with a Sunday call and I'm very happy. I think I missed one during the course, and afterwards Mariana was like, I know I got you for that extra hour on Sunday, but you're not the same.
Yeah.
Because they honestly give me tons of energy. And so I just want to say thank you for inspiring me. I always talk about halal paleo on every single webinar. And let us know how we can support you going forward. And yeah, just do what every entrepreneur has to do. Just keep fighting, because that's the hard part, right?
Yeah, you just have to keep getting up every day and doing, grinding, keep grinding and learning and pushing forward, pushing past all the hesitations, all the limitations that you might self-impose on yourself, and just doing it anyway. One of the things I've read, and I don't know if did Joe ever come, Joe DeSena?
Oh yeah, Joe DeSena was here. Yeah.
So I've read his book, and one of the key
CEO of Spartan Race.
Yes, CEO of Spartan Race. One of the key things he said, if you can manage to, the thing that stops you from going over the obstacle, that wall, is not the wall itself, but the fear you place of that wall. But just get up and do it anyway. And that's what I remember every time, even today when I have things where I put off. All right, I'm going to London Real. Why am I putting off? Okay, I need to deal with it. And I dealt with it. And once you just do it, that fear goes and you become a stronger person. So my advice to anyone is just, whatever you're stopping yourself from doing, whatever you're held yourself for a very long time of not pushing yourself, or not because you're scared, do it anyway. Just do it. Whether it's doing this course, or whether you need to speak to that person you've stopped speaking to, just do it. You're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel better, and you're going to be a better person for it. Remember, ego is just a thing we place on ourselves, but it doesn't add any value. I still need to watch that episode with Ryan Holiday. But
ego is the enemy.
Ego is the enemy, and we just really need to. Everyone has it. You just need to fight it every day and do it anyway. But yeah, thank you very much, Brian.
My pleasure. I've never heard wiser words said. Thanks so much for tonight. I think people got tons of value out of this. I think you've already inspiring people to go ahead and do their own businesses, and I hope people go out there and just try it. Again, I think it accelerates their life, and I hope they check out our Business Accelerator and maybe join us on the next class. I can't wait to get started again with this new cohort and see what we can build, and then bring that class into your class and have this crazy alumni group as well. So I think it's just going to keep growing.
Let me know how I can help. I'm excited.
Okay, cool. Keep me posted on Halal Paleo. If people listening and watching want to check it out, if they can Google Halal Paleo and it'll come to the top, or it's Halal Paleo.
It's HALAL PALEAO.
Paleo.com. Perfect. It's great. Get your recipes, and you don't even have to eat halal to enjoy Halal Paleo. So, boom, there you go. That's Real Talk episode 32. We will see you next week for number 33. We're going to have another Business Accelerator graduate here on Wednesday. Thanks for all your comments live on Facebook, and we will see you later.